In the summer of 1967, behind the glittering facade of Graceland's gates, Elvis Presley made a decision that would forever alter the trajectory of his relationship with Priscilla Beaulieu. It wasn't a diamond ring, a mansion, or even a promise of marriage that became the most significant gift he ever gave her. Instead, it was something far more precious and unexpected, something that revealed the depth of vulnerability beneath the king of rock and roll's legendary persona. This single gesture not only transformed their love story, but also exposed the man behind the myth, creating a bond that transcended fame, fortune, and the pressures of being the world's most celebrated entertainer. Elvis Presley stood at the pinnacle of global stardom in 1967, yet behind the sequined jumpsuits and screaming crowds lay a man struggling with the suffocating weight of his own legend. At Graceland, away from the cameras and adoring fans, Elvis was simply a young man in his early 30s, desperately seeking authentic connection in a world that seemed to worship an image rather than the person beneath it. Priscilla Beaulieu had been living at Graceland since 1963, navigating the complex dynamics of loving someone who belonged as much to the world as he did to her. She had witnessed Elvis's transformation from the rebellious young singer who had captivated her heart in Germany to the polished entertainer whose every move was scrutinized by millions. The pressure was immense, not just on Elvis, but on their relationship itself. The mansion that had once felt like a sanctuary was increasingly becoming a gilded cage. Elvis's inner circle, the infamous Memphis Mafia, provided companionship but also created a barrier between the couple and the outside world. Priscilla often felt like she was competing not just with Elvis's career, but with the mythology that surrounded him. She longed for moments when she could see the real Elvis, not the performer, not the icon, but the man who laughed at silly jokes and worried about his future. During this period, Elvis began to recognize the toll his fame was taking on their relationship. He saw how Priscilla struggled to maintain her own identity while being constantly defined as Elvis's girlfriend. He witnessed her quiet moments of doubt, her careful navigation of his moods, and her genuine efforts to support him despite the unconventional life they led together. It was during one particularly difficult evening, after a heated argument about their future and the constraints of his celebrity status, that Elvis realized he needed to give Priscilla something more than material gifts or promises. He needed to give her something that would show he truly saw her as more than just an accessory to his fame. The idea began to form in his mind, a gift that would be both deeply personal and profoundly liberating, something that would demonstrate his trust in her and his recognition of her as an individual with her own dreams and aspirations. The decision, brewing in Elvis's mind, would require him to do something he had never done before: share his most private creative space and trust someone else with the most vulnerable aspects of his artistry. This wasn't about grand gestures or expensive tokens of affection. This was about giving Priscilla access to the part of himself that even his closest friends rarely witnessed: the songwriter, the dreamer, the man who created music not for the world, but for his own soul. What made Elvis's gift so extraordinary wasn't its material value, but the profound intimacy it represented. In the summer of 1967, Elvis made an unprecedented decision. He invited Priscilla into his private recording studio at Graceland, not as an observer, but as a creative collaborator. This small, dimly lit room had always been his sanctuary, a space where he could experiment with melodies, write lyrics, and explore musical ideas without the pressure of commercial expectations or public scrutiny. For years, this studio had been Elvis's most guarded secret. Even the Memphis Mafia, despite their constant presence in his life, were rarely allowed access to this intimate creative process. Here, Elvis would spend hours playing his guitar, working through emotional turmoil, and crafting songs that would never see the light of day. It was where he was most vulnerable, most authentic, and most himself. The invitation came after a quiet dinner at Graceland. Elvis had been unusually contemplative, and as they walked through the mansion's familiar corridors, he stopped at the studio door. "Priscilla," he said, his voice carrying an uncharacteristic nervousness, "I want to show you something I've never shared with anyone else." He handed her a key, both literal and metaphorical, to a part of his world that had remained exclusively his own. Inside the studio, Elvis revealed a collection of handwritten songs, personal recordings, and musical experiments that represented years of private creative exploration. But more importantly, he asked Priscilla to contribute her own ideas, to help him shape these intimate musical expressions, and to become a genuine partner in his artistic process. He valued her perspective, her emotional intelligence, and her ability to see beyond the Elvis Presley persona to the heart of what he was trying to express. This collaboration wasn't about creating commercial hits or adding to Elvis's already impressive catalog of famous songs. Instead, it was about creating something deeply personal, music that captured the essence of their relationship, their struggles, their hopes, and their genuine connection. Priscilla found herself not just listening to Elvis's music, but helping to shape it, offering suggestions for lyrics, melodies, and emotional nuances that only someone who truly knew him could provide. The sessions in that small studio became sacred moments in their relationship. Away from the demands of the entertainment industry and the constant presence of others, Elvis and Priscilla discovered a new dimension to their love, one built on mutual respect, creative partnership, and the kind of trust that can only exist between two people who are willing to be completely vulnerable with each other. The impact of Elvis's unprecedented gift began to manifest in ways neither he nor Priscilla had anticipated. Their collaborative sessions in the private studio created a new dynamic in their relationship, one where Priscilla wasn't merely the girlfriend of a superstar, but a trusted creative partner whose opinions and contributions were genuinely valued. This shift fundamentally altered how they saw themselves and each other. For Priscilla, the experience was transformative. She had always been intelligent and perceptive, but her insights had often been overshadowed by Elvis's larger-than-life personality and the constant attention focused on him. In the studio, her voice mattered. Her suggestions about lyrics weren't dismissed. They were carefully considered and often incorporated into the songs they were crafting together. Elvis would play a melody and ask, "What does this make you feel? What story do you think this music is trying to tell?" The songs they created together during these sessions were unlike anything in Elvis's public catalog. They were raw, honest, and deeply emotional musical diary entries that captured the complexity of their relationship, the challenges of fame, and their hopes for a future together. One particular song they worked on was about the loneliness that can exist even when surrounded by crowds, a theme that resonated with both of their experiences at Graceland. Elvis, meanwhile, discovered aspects of his own creativity that had remained dormant. Priscilla's perspective challenged him to explore emotions and themes he might never have considered on his own. She encouraged him to be more introspective in his songwriting, to move beyond the performative aspects of his music and delve into the authentic experiences that shaped his worldview. Their collaboration pushed him to be more vulnerable in his art, which paradoxically made him feel more confident in his relationship. The creative partnership also began to influence other aspects of their relationship. Elvis started seeking Priscilla's opinion on career decisions, asking for her thoughts on song selections for upcoming albums, and even involving her in discussions about his film projects. What had started as a gift access to his private, creative space evolved into a genuine partnership that extended far beyond music. Friends and family members began to notice the change in their dynamic. The relationship seemed more balanced, more mature, and more stable. Priscilla carried herself with increased confidence, and Elvis appeared more grounded and focused. The gift had created a foundation of mutual respect that strengthened their bond and provided them with a shared purpose beyond the typical celebrity relationship dynamics. This transformation wasn't without its challenges. However, as Priscilla became more involved in Elvis's creative process, she also became more aware of his artistic struggles and professional pressures, adding new layers of complexity to their already complicated love story. The unexpected consequences of Elvis's gift extended far beyond their private creative sessions, creating ripple effects that would influence their relationship for years to come. As word of their musical collaboration spread quietly through their inner circle, it began to change how others perceived both Elvis and Priscilla, ultimately affecting the dynamics of their entire social environment at Graceland. The Memphis Mafia, accustomed to being Elvis's primary confidants and creative sounding boards, initially struggled with Priscilla's elevated role in his artistic life. Some members felt displaced, while others recognized that her influence was making Elvis happier and more creatively fulfilled than they had seen him in years. This shift forced everyone in Elvis's orbit to reevaluate their relationships and roles, creating both tension and unexpected opportunities for growth. Priscilla's newfound confidence and creative involvement also began to influence her personal ambitions. The experience of contributing to Elvis's music awakened her own artistic aspirations, leading her to explore interests in photography, fashion design, and eventually, acting. The gift had not only strengthened their relationship, but had also helped Priscilla discover her own creative voice and independent identity, something that would prove crucial in the years ahead. The couple's creative collaboration produced several songs that, while never released commercially, became deeply meaningful to both of them. These private recordings served as a musical diary of their relationship, capturing moments of joy, conflict, reconciliation, and deep love. Years later, these songs would serve as powerful reminders of a time when their connection felt most authentic and unencumbered by external pressures. However, the gift also revealed the fundamental challenges that would eventually strain their relationship. As Priscilla grew more confident and independent through their creative partnership, she began to assert herself more strongly in other areas of their life together. She started questioning aspects of their lifestyle that she had previously accepted without comment, including Elvis's controlling tendencies and the isolated nature of their existence at Graceland. The creative partnership that had initially brought them closer together eventually highlighted their different visions for the future. While Elvis valued their collaboration and Priscilla's creative input, he remained committed to maintaining the lifestyle and career structure that had brought him success. Priscilla, energized by her newfound creative confidence, began to envision possibilities beyond the confines of being a rock star's girlfriend. This tension came to a head during their final recording session together in late 1967. They had been working on a song about change and growth when Priscilla made a suggestion that would alter the song's meaning entirely. Elvis initially resisted, then realized that her interpretation was not just about the music, it was about their relationship and her need for greater independence and recognition as an individual. The gift that had begun as an expression of love and trust had evolved into something more complex, a catalyst for personal growth that would eventually contribute to both the deepening and the ultimate transformation of their relationship. Elvis's decision to share his most private creative space with Priscilla remains one of the most profound gestures in the history of celebrity relationships. It demonstrated that true intimacy isn't about grand public displays or expensive material gifts, but about trust, vulnerability, and the willingness to share the deepest parts of oneself with another person. The gift changed everything about their love, not by solving their problems, but by revealing the depth of connection possible between two people willing to be completely authentic with each other. It showed that even in the fishbowl of fame, genuine partnership and creative collaboration could flourish. Ready to discover more untold stories from music history's greatest love affairs? Subscribe to our newsletter for exclusive insights into the private moments that shaped legendary relationships. Don't miss the secrets behind the songs. Join thousands of music lovers who get the stories the world never heard.